Debriefing. I'm Director of Communications and Public Engagement, Lillian Govis. Today, we'll be joined by State Emergency Management to talk about hazard mitigation grants, which can provide money to make homes more resilient. We'll also be joined, like we usually do on Fridays, by the City of Asheville for their water update. But first, as we do, County Manager Avril Pinder.
Good morning. I want to start this morning off with some good news. Last night, keys were handed over to the first family receiving a manufactured home from FEMA. This home was placed on their property, and with those keys, hopefully a small sense of normalcy was regained. We know we have some more homes coming, but so this is just the start of more good news in our recovery. Buncombe County is reopening applications for the 2024 Homeowner Grant Program to give the community impacted by Hurricane Helene more time to complete and submit applications. The deadline was September 30th, but with the storm's devastation, we want to make sure our people have time to access this program. Applications will open November 11th through the 15th and can be obtained from buncombecounty.org/homeowner grant. One word, buncombecounty.org/homeowner grant, or by calling 828-250-5500. Phone support will be available in any language. And note that if you look at the website right now, it will say applications are closed, but this is being updated from Monday's opening. Through this program, qualified homeowners will have an opportunity to receive financial assistance for housing-related costs. These funds may be applied to property tax bills and are paid and applied to other housing-related obligations, such as housing costs, mortgage, or homeowners insurance. Applicants can apply for up to $300 in unincorporated Buncombe County and up to $500 in the city of Asheville. Applicants who received grants last year will need to reapply. Payments are made directly to the source of the approved bill. Payments will not be made directly to individuals. There are several new aspects to this year's program, including new eligibility requirements, and now mobile homeowners may receive the grants. Eligibility requirements include: you must have owned and lived in your home for 5 years or more. Your home must be your primary and only residence. Your household income is at or below 80% of the area median income. Your household cannot already be receiving tax deferment assistance like elderly, disabled, or veterans exemptions. You must not have more than $60,000 in liquid cash and liquid reserves. For example, your cash on hand, checking and savings accounts combined, or other investments that you can access within 7 days. Some other updates from FEMA. Free disaster-related legal counseling, assistance, and referrals are available for eligible North Carolina homeowners and renters in disaster-designated counties as they recover from Helene. People do not need to apply for FEMA assistance to receive disaster legal services. Low-income survivors can use these services to receive confidential, free legal assistance due to the disasters, but do not have the means to secure adequate legal services. They can assist you with insurance policies, foreclosures, home repairs, contracts, and more. For legal assistance, call 866-219-5264 and extension 2657. Again, that number is 866-219-5264, extension 2657. The toll-free hotline is available 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. on weekdays. Disaster legal service attorneys are not FEMA employees. They are volunteers who provide survivors with legal counseling, advice, and when appropriate, legal representation in non-fee generating cases that are not against the federal government. More information about legal assistance for North Carolina residents is available online at legalaidnc.org/disaster. Let me make sure I give you the number again for legal aid, but you can go online to legalaidnc.org/disaster. That is legalaidnc/disaster, or by calling 866-219-5266 and dial an extension 2. Did I say 5262? Yeah. No, okay, 866-219-5262, 5262. And by dialing extension 2657. Again, that number is 866-219-5262 and dial extension 2657, or go online to legalaidnc.org/disaster. An update from environmental health. If you are testing your well, we have some operational changes for you. With Veterans Day, environmental health wouldn't be accepting water samples on Monday, November 11th. During the hot week of Thanksgiving, they would only accept water samples on Monday, November 25th. So again, they will not accept water testing samples for your wells on Monday, November 11th, due to the Veterans Day holiday. And the week of Thanksgiving, they will only accept water samples on that Monday, November 25th. Our water and food distribution sites and our community care sites will remain open daily, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., even though Monday is a holiday. Staff will be working so that you can have access to water, showers, and laundry. All community care stations have ADA accessible showers and bathrooms. Laundry drop-off and pickup is available at the Swannanoa Ingalls. The other locations for community care sites are at the at-home store parking lot, the Big Lots in Innsbrook Mall, Buncombe County Sports Park, Bethel United Methodist Church, Fairview Ingalls, Swannanoa Ingalls, Owen Park, Morgan Hill Baptist Church. The water and meals ready to eat are available at distribution sites. Those are also daily, and they're located at Skylands Bowling Alley, Black Mountain Ingalls, Swannanoa Ingalls, Linwood Crump Shallow Community Center, Pack Square Park, Buncombe County Sports Park, and Fairview Ingalls. Our Buncombe County Public Health mobile team will be out next week providing free vaccines. Their schedule for next week is Tuesday and Friday, 12 to 6 p.m. They will be at the Swannanoa Ingalls Community Care Site and Tunnel Road Community Care Site. On Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Big Ivy Community Center, and Thursday, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. at Bounty and Soul Market at the former Bilo in Black Mountain. Further updates from FEMA. Starting tomorrow, the FEMA Disaster Recovery Center at Cane Creek Pool will be relocated to the Asheville Mall at 3 South Tunnel Road, right across from the Bath and Body Works store. This location will be accessible for those who use public transit. ART bus route WE1 has a stop at the mall. The Disaster Recovery Center is a one-stop shop to get in-person assistance from FEMA and the Small Business Administration. Today and tomorrow, the Mobile Disaster Recovery Center will be at the Buncombe County Sports Park from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. An update on solid waste. We are continuing to work on the transition to FCC Environmental from Waste Pro effective January 1st to FCC Environmental. FCC Environmental will host a hiring event on Tuesday, November 19th and Wednesday, November 20th at the Hilton Garden Inn, 309 College Street. We'll share more information about that, but if you know someone who's looking for a new job, please let them know to mark their calendars. Again, that is November 19th, and the 20th at the Hilton Garden Inn, 309 College Street. The Expo will be at the North Bunker Pool today until 3:30 to collect bagged household trash as they run their normal routes in the Weaverville area. A reminder that any events hosted by solid waste, including the household hazardous waste collection events, has been canceled until further notice to focus on restoring critical waste and recycling infrastructure. An update on our storm debris collections. In terms of debris, we've collected more than 100,000 cubic yards of debris, and crews continue to collect between 12 to 15,000 cubic yards per day. For reference, it takes 2,690 loads to gather 100,000 cubic yards. So that's a lot of truck traffic, and we currently have 45 trucks running in the county. Crews are working in Swannanoa, Julian Shoals, Lower Brush Creek, Black Mountain, and Barnesville. We also have a couple of crews starting in the northwest part of the county. There's a map on the screen, and you can see on that map the zones for collection where we're working. Our crews are in B. That color is almost purple, lavender. B, C, D, E, H, and G. So everything on the east side of the county now have trucks running. The only two sites so far are the very far west of the county, the A and F. We don't have trucks there yet, but that is coming. But everything in B, C, D, E, H, and G, we have trucks running. As we shared yesterday, we're actively working to start up a Helene private property debris removal and demolition program, alongside our federal partners at FEMA, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, as well as the state of North Carolina. The application process will be announced very soon. Please note that debris present on vacant lands, debris are on unused or unmaintained areas of property, vacant lots, or debris on land used primarily for agricultural purposes is likely not eligible for this program. Complete details will be released as they become available. WNC Mountain Strong Career Fair is happening right now until 4 p.m. at the Harris Cherokee Center in Asheville. Western North Carolina businesses and organizations are ready to promote career opportunities for job seekers. All job seekers are encouraged to attend this one-stop opportunity to meet directly with representatives from companies hiring now. Free parking and free supportive services are available on site. Once again, this is a job fair open to all job seekers at the Harris Cherokee Center until 4 p.m. today. Now I'll turn it over to Steve Jackson, Deputy Hazard Mitigation Section Chief with the North Carolina Department of Public Safety, Division of Emergency Management. He's joining us via Zoom. Steve?
Thank you very much. This is Steve McGugan, actually. I am the actual assistant director, and the section chief for hazard mitigation. We thank you for this opportunity to come and speak with you and let you know how hazard mitigation can assist the community, as well as speak to our plans for being able to have the residents come meet with us next week to begin the application process for this program. The hazard mitigation program itself is a FEMA-funded program designed to reduce or eliminate future damages and losses after a disaster. FEMA provides the funding to the state and then to the community. The county and state, through our partnership, work together to assist the homeowners in being able to do one of three types of projects, helping to recover those homes after this disaster. I have the first type of project shown up on the screen. That is an acquisition. If your property has been severely damaged and you are located in a flood hazard area and wish to relocate from that flood hazard area, you can sign up for the acquisition program. In the acquisition program, your home would be bought just as if you were selling it to another homeowner and moving away. The value that the property would be appraised at would be the day before, the value of that property the day before the event took place. So you do not have a degradation in value if you have storm damage. You would get the value of your home at the day as it is appraised the day before the storm. Once that closing action happens, our closing official or our closing company would basically pay off your loan if you have a loan on the house remaining, and then the proceeds would then be handed over to you just like a normal acquisition process. Once that's completed, that property would then be deeded over to the county, and the county would retain that property, and that property would not be available to be reoccupied or be reused for housing. But in the future, the county can use those properties for such things as parks, greenways, other things in their future plan that benefit the community, as well as assist in being able to prevent future flood damages from occurring. A second type of project that we can do is called elevations. An elevation project is done when your home may have had a little bit of water on the first floor, 1 to 2 feet. You're in, again, the flood hazard area. So you got wet because this flood came into your home. We can raise the home. In other words, as you look at the picture, you can see there's a brick foundation on the left. There's a concrete block foundation on the right. You can see that that home has been elevated so that the first floor is 2 feet above what the 100-year flood elevation is for that location. Again, everything is done to the 100-year flood elevation, and we will raise the home 2 feet above that. Same thing happens here. You would sign up for an elevation program. FEMA would approve the application. In our partnership with the county, the state would come in. Our contractors would raise the home. In the elevation, you would move out of the home. And when I say move out, we will provide you temporary lodging while the construction process takes place. You don't have to move any household goods out because we pick the house up as is. The house is raised so that we can get underneath it, remove the old foundation, build the new foundation again, and then set it back down. And when we set it back down again, you will be at least 2 feet above the base flood elevation or the 100-year flood elevation. And then you would move back in to your property and continue to live there. If you do have an ADA requirement, those are built onto the house and provided through the program. That is not something that you would have to do. We will take care of that as part of the construction process as well. Again, this is good for homes that may have gotten a little bit wet, did not get destroyed. You want to stay where you are, and we can get the home up so that you don't have to be worried about being impacted by standard flood waters at the 100-year flood level. The last program that we offer is called a mitigation reconstruction. Mitigation reconstruction is done when first you requested an elevation, and we came in to determine that your home may be more damaged than was thought, and we cannot safely lift it and elevate it to the new height. We then offer a mitigation reconstruction, which is at that point, we would move everything out of the house. The old house would be torn down, new foundation built that again is at an elevated level. And then a new home is built in place of the old home. In this program, I will say these are not custom homes. These are standard floor plan homes. And it does not come with custom, of course, upgrades in them. It'll be just, again, a contractor's grade house. But at least you will have safe housing. It will be above the base flood elevation. And then again, we would move your furniture back in, set it back up, and you would move back in. Again, this is used when you requested an elevation and we determine that there's no way we can safely elevate it due to too much damage. Again, these are the 3 homeowner programs that the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program offers. The intent is, again, to rapidly get out and speak with everybody there in Buncombe County next week. If you could go to the next slide, please. We will be in Buncombe County next week. You can see our hours there. We will be taking applications from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Tuesday through Friday, which would be the 12th through the 15th at the East Asheville Library on Avon Road. We will have a team there that will be able to answer questions, fill out, help assist you in filling out a paper application form where we get all your information. We also go ahead and check your tax card to make sure we have all the proper names that need to be on the application and signatures that we will need. We will also verify where you are located within the flood zone. And then once we get all that paperwork collected from you, we will begin working with the county to get the applications built and sent to FEMA, so that we can, again, get FEMA's approval and start getting the money flowing so that we can do these 3 types of projects. Again, that's the hazard mitigation program in a nutshell. I will be here to answer questions, or if there's questions now, I'll be glad to answer those as required. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Steve. We will have questions at the end. I know folks are excited to hear about our City of Asheville updates, including water. So I'll turn things over now to Asheville City Manager Deborah Campbell.
Thank you, Lillian. Good morning. My name is Deborah Campbell, and I serve as the City Manager of Asheville. As usual, I want to start by thanking everyone in the community for all of your continued support and your ongoing efforts to help our community recover from this devastating storm. We are on day 44 of our emergency response and recovery efforts. As I've previously shared, the city is focused on 6 major priority areas: addressing the basic needs of our community with a focus on our most vulnerable populations in the broader community, restoring water service, community safety and security, debris collection, temporary housing, and economic recovery and financial assistance. First, Clay Chandler, our Public Information Officer with our Water Resources Department, will provide a brief update on the progress being made to address water turbidity in the North Fork Reservoir. I will follow Clay with brief updates on our water distribution and mill sites, share information about city services that are being resumed, events scheduled for Veterans Day and office closures, share information about the upcoming city council meeting, and lastly, provide an update on Helene recovery grant funding and partners selected to administer these grants. I'd like to now turn it over to Clay Chandler for our water update.
Thank you, Ms. Campbell. All right. Usual procedure here. North Fork turbidity as of early Wednesday morning. I'm sorry, early Thursday morning, Friday morning. Today is Friday. The the turbidity reading at North Fork have fallen below 17. We are very, very excited about that. It hovered around 17 most of yesterday, peaking at 17.4 right around noon. So you can see that fluctuation. The pattern the past few days has been the lowest level reading of the day happens just after midnight. The highest level reading of the day happens early to mid afternoon. And that highest level reading is what you're seeing on our results that are posted on the website. Plan for next week in North Fork remains the same. Third round of in-reservoir treatment will begin either Monday afternoon or Tuesday morning and go most of the week. North Fork's capacity to push treated water into the system has risen to 19 million gallons per day. It hovered around that level most of yesterday, between 17 and 19 or so, and we were not pushing any raw water into the reservoir, into the system until late afternoon when we had a fairly significant break on Patton Avenue. A 16-inch line broke, and if you were anywhere in the area of Patton Avenue yesterday afternoon, you saw water on the street, but that's been fixed. So that's a good example that our ability to push treated water into the system is going to depend obviously on turbidity continuing to fall and no major breaks in the system. Corps of Engineers interim pre-treatment system, they have verbally awarded a contract to a contractor for that project. That contractor will be on site early next week for a site visit, and the build out will begin shortly after that. Nothing has changed with that timeline. That's still late November, early December. And it's been a couple of weeks since I mentioned our DeBrule treatment plant at Bee Tree. We're Water Resources is coordinating with the Corps of Engineers also on that project, and that also includes FEMA, the United States Geological Survey. And that's centered right now on the removal of debris from in and around that reservoir. There was a huge landslide there during the storm, and it dumped boulders, some of which are bigger than bulldozers, into that reservoir, countless number of trees, tremendous amount of sand, silt, clay particles. And I still think the turbidity there is up around 200. So you can imagine how dirty and murky that water is. And so before anything can be done at Bee Tree, there's a lot of debris that's got to be pulled out of that reservoir. Couple of notes about the boil water notice. Obviously, every city of Asheville water customer remains under a boil water notice in the absence of bottled water or water that has been otherwise purified. Any water intended for consumption needs to be boiled for a minimum of 1 minute beforehand. Obviously, you are better off using bottled water or water that's been otherwise purified for consumption. And we have gotten a lot of questions about why we're sending the AVL alert every day. And so when this is over, our environmental regulators at the DEQ and the EPA are going to evaluate how well we communicated the boil water notice. And if they deem that insufficient on the back end of this, they could fine us. And so we are trying to be as thorough as possible. They did not necessarily offer specific guidance on the front end on what an effective communications plan would look like. And so we made the decision once we first issued the boil water notice that we were going to send it through AVL alert every day. I know it's repetitive. I know it's annoying. I know a lot of people have probably tuned it out and are tired of hearing my voice on their phone every day. Completely understand that. There's a long list of people who are tired of hearing my voice on their phone every day. But we're just trying to be as thorough as possible so we can get a positive evaluation from our environmental regulators once this is all over. That's it for me. I'm pretty brief. I know there will be questions afterward. For now, I'm going to turn it back to Ms. Campbell.
Thank you, Clay. I'll start my comments with an update on water and meal distribution. Water distribution sites and community care stations remain in operation. We are maintaining distribution sites from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. at Pack Square Park, 70 Court Plaza, Skylanes Bowling Alley, 1477 Patton Avenue, Linwood Crump Shallow Community Center, 121 Shallow Road. And again, just a note, the Shallow location has bottled water and cartons of water and MREs, but no bulk water. Additionally, community care stations are co-located with distribution sites at 980 Brevard Road in the at-home store parking lot, 85 Tunnel Road in the Innsbrook Mall parking lot. These operating hours are from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And again, both locations have ADA accessible showers and restrooms. As of this morning, our sites have distributed more than 2,496,105 million bottles and 1 liter cartons of drinking water, 22,098 gallon jugs of potable water, 238,178 gallons of non-potable water, 186,457 meals ready to eat, and over 2,000 blankets for warmth. Now I'm going to transition into some of our city services that have been resumed. Parks and recreation programs are coming back on Tuesday, November the 12th. While most previously scheduled programs and events are back on the schedule, cooking classes, field trips, and some outdoor programs are not, due to challenges such as potable water delivery, transportation, and inaccessible outdoor spaces. Until regular potable water delivery resumes, please bring your own filled water bottle to programs, activities, and events. Youth and Adult Basketball League registration is currently open. Registration for other programs opens on Tuesday, November the 12th. We know you want to get back to your favorite spaces, but please remember that closed parks and some areas of partially open parks are not safe to access except by authorized personnel. In observance of Veterans Day, the City of Asheville offices will be closed Monday, November the 11th, 2024. This includes the closure of Parks and Recreation Community Centers and Harris Cherokee Center. Community care stations and pods, however, will remain open on Veterans Day, but will close a little bit earlier at 6:30 p.m. rather than our normal time of 7, to allow our National Guard partners to attend an honorary dinner hosted by Buncombe County. Sanitation collection of trash and recycling is on a regular schedule. Debris collection contractors will also be operating during daylight hours. However, the sanitation office will be closed. All public safety services, including police, fire, emergency response, will operate on a normal schedule, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And as I mentioned on Wednesday, a Veterans Day ceremony will be held at the Charles George VA Medical Center in Asheville on Monday at 11 a.m. Our community is encouraged to attend this event to honor our community members who are our veterans. And there are details on the slide as it relates to this event. Additionally, a video of the ceremony will be available on the City of Asheville YouTube channel at 3 p.m. on that same day, November the 11th. Upcoming City Council meeting next Tuesday, November the 12th. We have a regularly scheduled City Council meeting. I hope the community will tune in. There will be an update during the manager's report on how the city is organizing to respond and aggressively pursue necessary resources to help the community effectively recover from this devastating storm. Representatives from FEMA and our recovery advisor, Haggerty Consultant, will also provide brief updates. The city council meeting can be watched live on Charter Spectrum Channel 193 or on the city's YouTube channel, which is linked on the front page of the city's website at asheville.nc.gov. And speaking of resources needed for recovery, a couple of weeks ago, I shared that council passed a resolution establishing funds for Helene long-term recovery. These funds are meant to aid residents and business owners affected by the storm. The following partners have been identified to distribute relief grants to the community in 3 areas: business stabilization, rental assistance, and home repair. Mountain BizWorks was selected to distribute business stabilization funds totaling $704,000. Eblin Charities was selected to distribute rental assistance funds currently totaling $500,000. The Asheville Regional Coalition for Home Repair, consisting of Habitat for Humanity, Mountain Housing Opportunities, PODA, Emma, and Community Action Opportunities, was selected to distribute home repair funds totaling $750,000. The city is working closely with these nonprofit partners to finalize program details in compliance with state and federal funding guidelines. Announcements on when and where to apply for grants through the nonprofit partners will be forthcoming soon. And as I close, I want to thank you, City of Asheville voters, for approving the 2024 General Obligation Bond Referendum totaling $80 million. The passage of the 2024 bond referendums will help fund key improvements in affordable housing, transportation infrastructure, public safety facilities, and parks and recreation facilities. And as usual, I'd like to extend my continued gratitude to the mayor and city council, all of our dedicated City of Asheville employees, our other partners in the county, state, and federal government, as well as our private and nonprofit partners who continue to work diligently to help our community recover. We know we have a ways to go, but we are making steady progress. Thank you. Lillian?
Thank you. Before we get to questions, we were going to have a guest from Team Rubicon here, but they're postponing until next Thursday. They did want us to share their flyer for them. The work that Team Rubicon is doing here in our community is particularly important. And as we head into Veterans Day, this is a veteran-led disaster response organization. And so they do services for the community at no cost, and they are assisting us in the debris process, and they're a great partner. Services that they provide include site surveying, so they'll get there and take a look and see how bad things are. Debris removal, so they will help with debris removal on your property and get that to the public right away or to the street to be collected. They will not take that debris, they will not go somewhere else with it, but they will help you if you have a tree down. I know my husband has a new chainsaw and he's very excited about joining Team Rubicon. They'll do tree damage cleanup and they'll do muck outs and roof tarping. So they'll assist with that damage inside the home. They will not move debris off property, like I said, and they won't dispose of that debris. And they also will not do any mold mitigation. But you can contact them at 562-504-9906 between 8 and 5. And they will help get someone dispatched to your property to assist you if you have a debris situation going on there. Again, that's 562-504-9906 between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. And they also have a tremendous number of volunteer opportunities for those folks who want to get involved and get one of those nice gray shirts with the red logo on the back. So you can also volunteer with them, and they have same day volunteer opportunities. So that's that's an update from them, and then we will look to hear back from them on Thursday when they join us next week. We also will have the Asheville Humane Society join us next week. We had a question in the Facebook chat during this about bear carts. If you have a current bear cart with Waste Pro and you're moving to FCC, you can keep that cart. They will put a new decal on that cart when you when you have your service with FCC to demonstrate that it has become. Well, I thought that I was pretty interesting, but I guess not. So they will put a decal on your bear cart and let them know, let their trash collectors know that that you have subscribed for service with FCC. And so I want to provide some comfort to that person who was thinking that they may have to purchase a new bear cart. We also got an emailed question from Leslie about debris pickup on private roads. And so I want to try to help make it clear as possible. She said, so are private roads getting debris pickup at their homes presently, or does debris have to be placed within 25 feet of a right of way? She said she understands that debris pickup will continue on private roads, but there are legalities to take care of. So yes, debris pickup will happen on private roads. And also, yes, we still need to get the legal authority to enter those private roads in order to collect that debris. And that's part of what Tetra Tech is doing with us to help get those right of entry. And Tetra Tech will be joining us next week for the briefing as well. So right now, we are not doing that debris pickup on private roads, but we will. Yes, we will. And that there is also, her second part of the question was that will the private road debris pickup only be for people who apply for it and meet criteria such as debris on their property presenting a danger? And no, we will do debris pickup on private roads. We are also working on that right of entry. Say that you have a stream in your backyard and there is now debris in your backyard that came from the flood. We will have to get that right of entry in order to come onto that property and collect that debris and remove it for you. So that's the piece that's taking a little bit more time than what you're seeing in the public right of way, and that 12,000 to 15,000 that's being collected of cubic yards of debris daily. Okay. With that, we will turn it over to questions from our very awake folks who are on the Zoom link.
Hey, Lillian, my apologies for that. I thought I was muted. You're always fascinating.
John,
You're always
boy.
fascinating. Just did not sleep well last night. Uh, um, I have questions for Clay and Steve, but I could just ask Clay first and then let somebody else go, if that's okay. I'm sorry.
Your unmuting privileges moving forward, John.
I swear I thought I was muted.
Good early morning, John.
Hey, Clay. I'll start with the hardest question first. We talked about this a little bit Wednesday, but I'm still kind of at a loss on how y'all are able to push 19 million gallons of 17 level turbidity water through the system. And I know you did the Army Corps of Engineer testing, but did y'all not know the upper limit of the turbidity the plant could handle before this?
I'm not sure I have a accurate answer to that question. I'm going to have to circle up with our facility operators. I do know that right after the storm, it was obvious that when turbidity was in the 30s and the 40s, that we didn't have any sort of capacity to filter water without it probably destroying our filters at North Fork.
Sure, but yeah, if you can check on that, because it's still it's a
Yeah.
huge jump from being able to do a lot of 17 NTU when it was billed as 2. So that you can follow up on. I had 2 other questions for you today. On the tree loss, we've had a story today on tree loss. I can't remember if you've said if the watershed had significant tree loss, and will that in the future affect runoff and turbidity?
Yeah, the watershed did experience significant tree loss. In fact, we are reasonably certain that it's somewhere in the watershed there was a tornado that pushed through there because we have trees that are twisted off in the middle. Being from Mississippi, I'm pretty familiar with what tornado damage looks like. Not only did we have that at North Fork, we had that also at Bee Tree, where you see trees that are twisted off right in the middle. I think there's only one thing that does that, and that's a tornado. Yeah, significant tree loss in a watershed at North Fork. Not quite as bad at the Bee Tree watershed, although I think I did mention that there was a very large landslide there that pushed boulders, sand, silt, and a bunch of trees into the water.
And how about moving forward at North Fork? Will this be when you have more trees down, because trees filter water? So will y'all, because it was known for that real pure water, do y'all
Yeah.
expect the purity of the water to decline?
We don't expect the quality of the water to decline. The tributaries that are pushing water into the North Fork Reservoir now are crystal clear. I double checked that again this morning before I came over here. There will have to be some trees removed. We do have fire lanes there. They're not roads, they're more like trails. So our personnel can access various parts of the watershed. So yeah, tree removal, as far as that goes, is going to be a pretty significant effort moving forward.
But runoff from now what could be barren is not going to be
based on how it's behaving now, we don't expect runoff to be any different than what it was before the storm.
Okay, last question related to Army Corps of Engineers and the equipment they're bringing in. I had a reader ask me, because we talked about this being trucked in and kind of in these like shipping container type things. This person was asking, what exactly is there to build, and why would it take several weeks? So the impression people got, I think, was that it comes in on a trailer, it's ready to go, but clearly that's not the case. Can you explain what there is to build?
It does come in on a trailer. It does not arrive ready to operate. These are, and again, how many are going to be out there is going to depend on what size we can get, how many of what size, how many of one size versus how many of another. There is a lot of piping that's going to have to be installed. Just right now, our estimate is that the piping is probably going to take up most of the build out time. It's not just a few feet. It could be as much as a couple of thousand feet. And those units have to be laser leveled. You can't just put them on the ground and flip the switch. They're a little bit similar to the pump stations that we have existing throughout our distribution system. For example, back in the spring, we had the pump station at Peach Knob go out, and we had to replace it. That entire process, I think, took about a week and a half. And when the new pump for the pump station arrived, it's not a matter of just putting it on a flat surface and flipping a switch. It has to be very precisely laser leveled, because if it's off even like a 1/16 of an inch, it's going to affect the performance. It could even damage the equipment.
And so is that estimate late November, early December still holding at this point?
Still holding.
Okay, thank you. Those are mine for now. Thank you. I'm going to mute the hell out of myself too, by the way.
Don't make us start bleeping you out as well, John, please.
This is Laura.
Go ahead, Laura.
Yeah, this is Laura Hackett with Blue Ridge Public Radio. I have a couple more questions about the FEMA trailer news that was shared at the beginning of this press conference. So I'm just curious, kind of just to get a little bit more information about that. So like questions about that include like how many people are sort of eligible for the FEMA trailer? What are the qualifications for receiving one, and how long will people be able to stay in them?
So we have currently about 142 people who are eligible for that. And so that depends on the status of your property. Can we safely put a trailer there, manufactured home? in a place that's going to be safe for you, should we have another rain event. So making sure that it is on your property, you have that sense of normalcy, but also it's in a safe location, so that it's not in danger. And so the extent of that is, I'm trying to phone a friend here, the amount of time that that trailer or that manufactured home can stay on that property is, it will stay until you have a new home to put on your property. So that's the extent of the time that it's available. So again, 142 people or families have qualified for this. And so we're working on getting those set up. So today's the first one. More to come. Avril's been in these conversations more than I have.
Yeah, and how many, thank you so much for that. And also just curious how many folks have applied versus number of people eligible.
I don't know how many have, well, application wise, there's over 40,000 people. Laura, I'm trying to remember the latest number. I would say we are closer to the 50,000 folks that have applied for FEMA, that filled out that disasterassistance.gov application. So, but I don't know how many of those were actually applying for housing at the time. But for the housing piece, the 142 or so that Lillian mentioned, we now have to make sure we can go scope the property. So that work is now ongoing to go visit the sites, make sure the site is not in a floodway, and that site can take a home. So the preliminary estimate of the 140 is yes. They have said they have property. They have said they have water and sewer sites. So now we actually have to go put eyes on it, walk the property, make sure that that property can actually take a home. And as soon as that is done, then we can start putting homes. The homes are staged. I saw John's article that homes are staged in Hickory, just waiting to get that clearance that they can come on property.
Any sense of how
Laura,
long?
there was I don't know if you watched the Board of Commissioners meeting last night, Laura, but FEMA did provide an update at the beginning of that Board of Commissioners meeting, which you can watch, and it has a lot of these details there. And we can also set up an interview for you with the FEMA folks if you want. They're not in the room right now.
Thanks, Lillian. And then I have one more question. I have a question for, I think it's Steve, about the appraisals being done on the properties that were, kind of damaged by the storm.
Okay, I think Steve is still on with us.
Yeah. What would be your question about the appraisal, please?
Okay. I guess I'm just curious. You said that the properties will be appraised for their value before the day before the storm hit. Just wondering, like, how a little bit more information on how the appraisals are done. Is that the tax value or?
So part of the program. So once the homeowner has applied and has been accepted, and I'll also answer John's questions if you like, ma'am, that John put in the chat, and it'll kind of cover both of them. So as we said, this is a voluntary program, so the homeowners will volunteer into the program. And I can also say that at any time they can unvolunteer from the program. So it's not that once you start the program, you have to go all the way through the end. If you want to walk away, you can at any time. Once we take their intake, we get their application. We talked about the tax card at the intake. The tax card gives us a base value to at least estimate what the cost of being able to do that person's home. Again, that's just an estimate. Once and when we build our spreadsheet to FEMA, we take into account all the values, because what we're doing is basically building a value for the project. And so the tax card value is what we use to at least start with, as well as a tax multiplier that the county will give us that we may need to look at for all the properties in case the tax cards may be a couple of years out of date, and they give us a tax multiplier. Once we actually start the project of acquiring, a licensed appraiser goes out and appraises that property based upon the normal appraisal processes as any sales for a particular property would be. So they will, of course, look at that piece of property. Now, if that home is gone, we'll go based upon the description of the home, any pictures that are of the home, anything we can obtain from the homeowner so that we can do a full appraisal. And they will also do their local market research on the day prior. So if on the 25th of September, they'll take the 3 comps from homes like that home in that area and build a full appraisal. So 9 times out of 10, the appraisals always are higher than the tax value. Again, I talked about the tax card data lets us do an initial estimate of the cost of the project. But when we go and actually make the offer, it will be based on a licensed appraisal day prior to the event that occurred. And John's question he asked, what's the cost in the program to the homeowner? There is no cost to the homeowner in this program. There is a share that's paid. So FEMA provides 75% of the cost to acquire and demo the property and restore the property to green space. The state pays the other 25%. There is no cost to the homeowner for this program. John also asked about the percentage of applications for these programs typically accepted. I will tell you that at this point, I have never not been able to get a home approved. There are many rules that go with this program and many ways that we can work together in the application to always meet a benefit cost ratio of 1, which is requirement for FEMA to approve it, that we show that the benefit cost ratio of doing an acquisition or an elevation or a mitigation reconstruction is 1. But it's also, there's a lot of tools for us to reach that level. So I have not had any denied based upon the value of a home. Really, the only thing that prevents a home from being approved is if there are issues with the title. We can't get a clear title because there's either air issues or if they're like they applied for the elevation, we may not be able to elevate again, like I talked about, because we find that the home is too badly damaged and we have to move it either to a MIT recon or if they don't want us to do a MIT recon and they'd rather acquire, then we move it to acquire. But for anything that I've done since Hurricane Florence, that's how long I've been in this position. If a homeowner has applied and stayed with us and did not walk away from the program, we have been able to complete their home.
And an update on the hazard mitigation grant program location where folks can go and apply for those grants. We are going to co-locate that at the Asheville Mall with the FEMA location. So it's going to be at the Asheville Mall. I know we said Asheville Library earlier, but as everything develops every day that we've seen, slight change in that location. It will be co-located with FEMA, and so that makes it easier for folks to have that one-stop shop right there in the Asheville Tunnel Mall, in the former Gap store location across from Bath and Body Works. So that's where they will be next week to take those hazard mitigation grant applications. Do we have any additional questions in the chat? Nick is moderating the chat today, so.
Nothing in the chat, Lillian. Thank
Okay,
you.
all right. Any additional questions from our media on the call? John, final opportunity.
Can anybody recommend any sleep aids?
Well, we appreciate y'all joining us today. We know that these briefings have a lot of really critical information, and we got a good suggestion. I hope she's listening right now, but we got a good suggestion from a community member to help to make these briefings into podcasts, which we already have a podcast platform. So that's great, easy enough. So we're happy to share that if you took a little nap during the briefing and need to go back, you can look it up on Spotify under Buncombe County, and you'll be able to access this briefing and previous briefings there. We have our One Buncombe call center. It's open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 at 250-6100. The call center will be closed on Monday in observance of Veterans Day. So they will not be taking calls on Monday, but they will resume that on Tuesday from 9 to 5 for the rest of the week. And this is mostly of note to our media partners. I am heading out of the office for the next week. Stacy will be back here with you guys on Tuesday. So I will be back on the 19th. And so for any media requests, please make sure you go through that PIO process, and we will look forward to seeing y'all after a safe and hopefully happy holiday weekend where we honor and give thanks to our veterans. So we'll see you on Tuesday.